Uphold my steps in your paths, that my footsteps may not slip. What creates a path? The King James Dictionary describes a path as a way that's been beaten or trodden down. In other words, we'll always notice three components in the formation of a path: weight, repetition, and movement forward. When it comes to the mind, it's easy to see how the circumstances of life create individual paths of broken thinking. For instance, the weight of being ridiculed in early years, not just once but repetitively, over the movement of time produces a mind frame of shame. The brain creates this and many other neural pathways, which become our ongoing patterns of thought. Science tells us that neural pathways are the paths along which information travels through the neurons of our brain. They become like reflexes, habits, or knee-jerk reactions. Trauma and other negative influences produce patterns of thought. The effect of years of weight cause us to take these beaten and trodden down paths, even if our circumstances change. This is because it's a neural pathway that's already been etched in the brain. But God, who is the designer of the brain, created the brain's miraculous ability to transform. Science calls it neuroplasticity. The Bible calls it renewal, a type of metamorphosis of our thinking. The divine ability of the Spirit to transform the mind and create brand new pathways. Once cocooned in old thought patterns, we are now able to access new information of a heavenly nature. Divine, powerful pathways of thinking. As we study them together, we won't simply stand at the edge to admire its beauty. We will journey in and discover the vast, immense weight of its value, trotting in its reality with repetition, allowing our spiritual senses to move forward in every sacred detail. But before we start our first expedition, we need to consider the opposing weight that keeps us from this forward movement, strapping us to old patterns of thought. What were those conditions in your early years that affected you personally? In the book Blue Skies, you're given several categories of weight to consider. As you go over these in discussion time, take notice of what the Lord brings to mind. Believe it or not, each one you identify has an effective weight that has not only affected your past, but still influences you now and will influence your future. That is, until you begin stepping into God's new design, filled with the weight of God's promises. Remember, all these paths belong to us.